What is up, health enthusiasts? It's Coach Lamby here for Working Weights LLC, your guide to strength, health, and all things nutrition. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Dwayne Ulrich, aka Papi Duoro.
Hey guys.
And today we are going to talk about an inspirational journey. Folks, I am thrilled to introduce our next guest, Justin Gratzfeld. Justin is not your ordinary nutrition and fitness coach. His journey is one of resilience, inspiration, and a deep understanding of the human body. Justin's passion for physical pursuits started with a career as a professional wakeboarder and later led him to roles in massage therapy and firefighting. But just when life seemed to be going smoothly, he faced a series of challenges that would change his life forever. A brain infection left Justin paralyzed for 11 months, forcing him to confront the loss of his athletic identity and battle with depression. However, his adversity became the catalyst for his remarkable transformation. During his recovery, he embarked on rigorous health programs, pushing his limits to run a marathon and reignite his health journey. But Justin's dedication to his fitness and nutrition wasn't without its obstacles. Despite eating just 1,500 calories and running 30 kilometers a day, he found himself gaining weight. This led him on a quest to truly understand the human body and develop a carefully structured approach to reverse dieting. Through this process, he not only lost over 80 pounds, but also increased his daily calorie intake to 3,400. Justin's personal experiences have taught him invaluable lessons about the body, nutrition, and mental resilience. Now, as a coach, he is committed to sharing this knowledge and empowering others, especially those grappling with chronic illnesses. If you're looking to simplify the complex journey of weight loss and nutrition, Justin is the coach you need. His focus on unlocking the potential for nutritional longevity is truly inspiring. Justin is also working on a podcast called The Comeback Code, where he delves into the world of health, fitness, and the incredible power of a determined mind to overcome life's toughest challenges. Justin Gratzfeld is a true inspiration, and I can't wait for you all to hear his story. Justin, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the intro. If I had that every time I walked into a building, it'd be great. But especially when you get my name right.
Oh, I didn't even ask you that before we started. I didn't remember to. I was like, I got to ask and make sure this pronunciation is correct. Yeah, so I have a friend, Philip Pape. He has a podcast called Wits and Weights. We'll have to see if we can get you on there as well. And I think he kind of inspired me to do these like really wonderful, terrific introductions. His are phenomenal. It just kind of like, you're going to have somebody on, so I think that you should properly introduce them.
Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. All right, man. So, is there anything that I left out of there that you think needs to be said?
No, I think if there is something, we'll get to it eventually. And yeah, it was really good. Covered a lot.
Yeah. So, you and Dwayne started talking before we started recording, and Dwayne is a retired firefighter as well. So, why don't you guys kind of get into some firefighter talk?
Yeah, so I did so I retired from the fire department, but also did like 23 years with the Houston Police Department. But so my love was always been firefighting. Just love it. If HFD, Houston Fire Department was hiring, I'd have been that instead of a police officer. But so whenever I see a helmet like that sitting back there, bro, it's like a brotherhood. So I loved it, loved it, loved it. It was the greatest thing I ever did. I just loved it. And do you miss it, brother?
Yeah, I do miss helping all those people and everything, and especially because my dad and brother both do it all the time and stuff. And my brother's a captain, and then I go to my wife's dad's house, and he has all of his helmets out there because he was a chief for his area too. So I
That's
definitely
awesome.
do. But it's
So
nice to help people in another way too, as well. So
yeah. So when you see that, that's a little intimidating because I assume their chiefs have a white hat as well.
yeah.
Yeah. So down here, everybody, if you're a chief, you have a white hat. I made captain, and so I had a red hat. Had a red helmet. Red for us was captains. Yellows were lieutenant, and then black was for just regular firefighters. I so missed it. So missed it. I missed the guys a lot, and just the camaraderie about just doing stuff. You'll never forget those first. Do you agree? Like first time you cut somebody out of a car, your first car fire, your first house fire. Man, I just loved it. Loved it. So I relate, brother.
Yeah,
I
there's been some cool stories. That helmet actually is not allowed to be used. I was in a house fire and
mhm.
a 2x12 burnt through and it fell down, hit the helmet and cracked the top of it.
Oh,
Really,
wow.
really. So it worked though. The webbing and everything
Yeah,
works, right?
it was good. It
Did
was good.
you were you able to keep any of your gear?
No, not just that one. Other than I replaced the visor because it melted one time.
Oh
I, I
yeah,
went I
yeah.
went into a
Wow.
room and I put the whole room out, and then the closet was left. And as soon as I sprayed the closet, all I hear is, whew,
Oh
and the
yeah.
whole room reignites. And I'm like, back the F up, back the F up. My knees are burning. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I felt like they were moving real slow, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I was able to keep when I left, I we had gone to well, we still use the rubber boots, but some of us optioned to wear to buy these leather boots. They're pretty expensive, but there's steel plates underneath, leather, just fortified. It was awesome, awesome. I love those boots. I wore them even after I was out of the fire department until they just fell apart. Uh, Still have my helmet. I never melted a shield, but I also have my gloves. So I had a big old gauntlet gloves with the PBI and the draw straps on them, and I just missed that. One of my favorite stories is we went to this fire. It was a mutual aid fire, and we went with the smaller department. And then, as always, you see 20 guys trying to go in the front door, but it was a second floor fire, and it was a commercial structure. And so we went around my crew. We rolled in. We're like the fifth or sixth truck. Engine 63 parked. Bring your manpower forward. So we get off the truck and we're going up there, and my first captain taught me to see the big picture, which was the best lesson I could learn in life, even as a police officer. And so I see the big picture. I see 20 guys trying to go in the front door on the first floor. Well, okay. So we went around into a truck bay, and the staircase going up to the second floor, it was on fire. And so there's this kid standing there. He didn't even have his air pack on. He's just like, just froze. And so you didn't have to ask me. I just snatched the hose away from him. I start putting the fire up, going up the staircase, and one of my guys was right behind me. It was so cool. It kicked open the door on the second floor where the fire was at. And it was just like the Matrix, man. Only instead of green, it was all in gold. Everything had reached its ignition temperature and it had ventilated itself. So it's just gold. And so I kind of step in. The floor is a little spongy, but I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I just looked at it and I thought, how cool is this? It's just amazing, man. I put the fire out, and then it was awesome. It was awesome. I miss that stuff. I miss that stuff a lot. So with you,
That's
bro.
pretty wicked. Yeah, that one call that I was saying about it was an octagon house
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a maze style rooms that rotate, and it was completely pitch black. Our lights couldn't even get anything, and we couldn't figure out where the fire was. Like it like kind of like suffocated itself,
Yeah.
but it was still going. And we're like, so we're trying to figure out, and there's no windows in this house, so we're just feeling the studs going in, and my buddy that I'm with, he's behind me, and I'm like holding the studs, and all I hear is like a pull back, and so I'm holding on the hose and then the stud, and he actually fell through the floor.
No.
And the fire was on a 10 by 10 cement gun safe.
Oh
So
my gosh.
he fell
Wow.
like 2 feet onto a gun safe, like not just so he's hip height, but I tore my glove actually. I didn't know until I got out of the thing, and then we're able to go and put the fire out. But I was like, man, we're just searching around trying to figure out where this is, and it was
Yeah,
pretty wild.
yeah. Yeah. And you come out of there like, yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
wild.
crazy how fast some guys go to their air. It was like insane
Amazing.
because
Exactly.
me and my one guy, we were able to go in for like an hour,
Yeah.
and the other guys was like 10 minutes. So
Well,
we'd
you hear him
partner
going,
up, and
yeah, you hear him going, dude, relax, man,
yeah,
relax.
Sports
I'm going
background
out. I'm
definitely
going out.
helps.
Hey,
Getting with the calmness.
yeah, see ya. Oh man, we made a fire one time. We were up in an attic, me and another guy. We're scooting along, and I look over and I see like there's 4 or 5 propane bottles. And I was like, I'm smacking my guy in the front. It's one of my teammates. And I said, dude, look, 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 look. He looks over and he goes, well, it's too late now. We just pushed forward and thank God they were empty, man. It was like,
Yeah, we had a train derailment with
oh my gosh, I
13.
can't imagine.
And so we were evacuating people because there's fire around us. And we went to this house and it's like 3 in the morning and we can't get people out. And like I told them we got to go. So like they quickly went and there's a little bit of a grass fire or whatever. And as soon as we leave the driveway, it's on an acreage. All you hear is boom, and you see one of the propane tanks or something blew up. I don't know exactly, but it just made big. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in the movies. And like when we drove by the when I had to go to the call, we had to get past this, and like a few of the people like burnt the side of their faces through the truck door.
Oh
Oh
man,
man.
man. Hey, we went to, I had a chance to go to National Fire Academy. And so I was there with guys from all over the country. And some pretty hilarious guys too. There's some guys from Pigeon Forge, where Dolly Land or Dolly World is. And then there were these guys from Louisiana. And so for those of you out there that are listening to the podcast, there's this thing called a BLEVE, which is boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. And these guys, and they were talking about that. And the guys from Louisiana were like, "What, BLEVE?" The guy goes, yeah, boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. Oh, and I won't use the actual F word, but oh, you mean a freaking boom? So there's lots of interpretations all the way across the planet
Yeah,
of
whatever
all
works.
things. So I'm sure Justin and I can talk about firefighting stuff for a long
Hmm.
time, but we yield to the
To the host. Yeah.
to the host.
Yeah, so the firefighting stories are cool. I mean, I like to hear about them. But so yeah, I think I'd like to hear Justin's story. I mean, I definitely want to
Absolutely.
hear about, the story going from wakeboarding and firefighting and everything to, having 11 months of paralysis. So can you tell us about that?
Okay, so pretty much I started like competing in contests at 3 years old. My dad
Wow.
actually went into the Hall of Fame for wakeboarding and like development and stuff as coaching and like a half and half split for rider slash coach. And so he got me in early, and I accumulated a lot of concussions and things just kind of kept compounding. I kept going to the doctor, and they're like, you know what? You don't bother coming in. There's nothing we can do. They're not a big deal,
Hmm.
and yeah, you don't really want them on your file, so just don't come in. So, and healthcare is free in Canada, so like there's a lot of people that just come in all the time. So like they probably just don't want to be used as much because there's so many people misusing the health system. And so I just kept getting concussions, kept wakeboarding, basketball, things like that. And around, I was at nationals and I fell wakeboarding and I had 7 hours of paralysis. I don't know. I think I shocked the nervous system or something. And then permanent headaches and like 2 to 6 nosebleeds a day. My body was just all misregulated from the concussion. And that's kind of where the first like kind of depression kind of came into because I was in constant pain. So it's like, man, if I'm always going to be in pain, why am I here? Like, is there a
Yeah.
purpose to me being? And then I was like, okay, well, my purpose on earth is to help other people. I was coaching currently at the same time, like a provincial team. And I was like, my purpose is to help other people feel good because I'm not going to feel good. So that's kind of my whole um, high school and above went on. And then I got to a point where I was like, man, things are just getting worse. I'm getting more concussions. And I get to like where I actually physically couldn't do anything because my body was seizing up. Like I tried to
Hmm.
do something and just and I couldn't do anything. My brain was like, nope, you're not allowed. So I had to
Wow.
quit that. And in the meantime, while I was doing that, I was like, you know what, massage therapy wouldn't be a bad idea. And took that course. And then actually, I got a tetanus shot and had a really bad allergic reaction and got tendonitis in my left hand where I got the shot.
Oh my goodness.
And they're like, man, this is one of the worst reactions we've seen. So I was like, well, I can't massage anymore because it hurts my wrist to move it. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, took some kinesiology for a little bit. And um, in the past, my house had burnt down and I had connection to firefighting, my dad, all that stuff. I was like, okay, I'm actually going to drop out of school after the first year and pursue firefighting. So I did that, enjoyed that. It really helped feel that missing piece of not having my purpose as a professional wakeboarder, because you put your
Hmm.
whole being into one thing
Hmm.
and that you don't have any other ambitions. It's just that, and then you have like a loss of identity, and that comes with its own depression and mental
Yeah.
stuff. And firefighting kind of like gave me the camaraderie, the competition, all that stuff together, and
Yes.
I was really enjoying that. And then I was like playing basketball like 2-3 times a week, running 5K, and I was also doing some construction as well. And suddenly I was like, man, I'm losing like almost consciousness. Like my balance is going. And it was like, then the next day it was like full body paralysis. And I was like, I went to the doctors, they couldn't figure out. And the weird thing was, I had 10 seconds of mobility, and then it would lead to 3 hours of paralysis,
Wow.
and then 3 to 6 hours. And so I couldn't really get to the washroom, and then I'd go back, lay in bed. I can move a little bit, read to my dog. So I was blessed that I was able to do those things. But what was actually going on was there was a mold infection that only affects people with concussions. So it was like eating the brain, and the doctors didn't know. And then when they
Mm.
did find out, they referred me to a functional neuroscientist, and that's who actually went and spent thousands of dollars going to this guy, because healthcare has to be covered. It has to be included for like 10 years or something like that. And
Hmm.
this form of the brain infection wasn't covered because it's a newly found. So
How
like we went.
how old were you there? How old were you then?
Um, so 2 years ago, April 26th was my first time I walked a block with a walker. So
Wow.
11 months before that or more, a little bit more.
Wow.
So almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, especially because it's like full activity to like nothing, and like I could still move with like my hands and stuff, so I could still eat, and then I'm eating the same amount of calories and then I got badly into drinking and whatnot,
Hmm.
and I had a newborn daughter, and my wife's on maternity leave helping her, and then she has to now help me with my day-to-day needs for 11 months. So that was a job in itself, and thanks for her for sticking around and dealing with all
Amen.
that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
amen.
and then yeah, it was kind of crazy because my body was going past like the fight or flight response. It was the doctor said it was the preparation for death phase. It's like when a gazelle gets attacked by a lion, it turns off its nervous system and turns off the pain so it doesn't feel anything and prepares to die. And
Mm.
that's actually the system that was going on. Why I was getting paralysis was my body thought it was in pain, so it was turning off the nervous system, and I was getting paralysis. So anytime I moved more than 10 seconds, it would turn off everything, and then I have to try to like manually breathe. Like I would actually have to like intentionally go
Oh
Oh
my
wow.
God.
and like my heart was misregulated with the beats
Uh,
for my blood and everything, and it was a process. And then we couldn't afford our house anymore, so we had to just sell it for way like $70,000 cheaper than we bought it, and get out of it. And we actually lived in an RV with my grandparents' RV for 7 months while I learned to rehab. And like I said, April 26th, I walked my first block with a walker, and then moved to July 16th. I walked my first kilometer without a cane, and then September I ran 5K, and then November I ran 48.34K in like a foot and a half of snow and -20.
Oh geez.
Well, I was doing 75
minus 20
hard.
Celsius, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's, I don't know, it's probably
I'm
around
not sure
18
what
or
that converts
something.
to. And yeah, I'm not
Minus
sure what that
18
converts.
felt
Is it? That's
something
cold.
What
close.
was the treatment plan? I mean,
Um,
how'd they
uh,
discover it, and what kind of treatment plan did you go through?
well, the neuroscientist guy, he went and did $5,000 of blood work and like did that, found out some things were low. Then he gave me some vitamins, things like that for me to get better. Omega 3s were definitely one of the most important. And then like zinc, copper, that was another big one for me. And then there's some like other kinds that you can't actually buy, like it has to be prescribed for you and
Hmm.
stuff. And then I was driving 2 hours to his site 3 times a week, or well, I wasn't, my wife was. And I was doing, they put like this little scanner thing on me, and then I'd watch like a TV show or something, and if my brain didn't do a correct neural pathway, it would go darker screen, or the volume would lower or go higher, and just like try to change depending. And it was wild because I only had so much energy in the brain to do certain functions of the brain. And after leaving one session, it was kind of like throwing a dart at a wall, seeing what pathway might be work. And I'd be like, oh, I can't talk anymore. Oh,
Oh,
I can't
interesting.
walk
Wow.
at all. Oh,
Wow.
and it was within 3 minutes of leaving. Like the worst one was I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk either. So I was just like, and then went back two
Yeah.
days later, and it was wild how that. And then the biggest thing was we couldn't afford the house anymore, so we got out of it. And then I started getting better, being out of there because the the stuff wasn't eating my brain anymore. I wasn't in like the toxic environment and
So it was from
everything.
the house.
Yeah, and
Wow.
we had a
Wow.
flood earlier before this, where we had 1,000 liters of water
Oh,
from our toilet flooded our house when it broke. And the guys came in, they fixed it, they had asbestos, they removed the asbestos. They removed apparently all the mold with the mold testing that went, but apparently this micro mold is only tested in like Sweden and one other place in the world because it's newly found. And that was the one that, and the crazy part is my neighbor had the same thing happen to her, and she's still dealing with um, side effects that are worse than mine.
wow. Wow.
Wow.
And
So
she was
this
a paramedic.
this only affected people with concussions?
Yeah, this
Oh,
specific,
interesting.
because the blood-brain barrier, it wasn't realizing that it was passing through. It's just like, hey, come on all in. It just thought it was a regular foreign, like not a foreign
Oh.
particle, so it didn't break it down. So it just kind of took the security off. It's like having your computer without an
Yeah.
antivirus.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. God bless
That's
your
incredible.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What an incredible woman.
or her.
She 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 must love you a lot, or she's heavily invested. I don't know, one or the other.
Or both.
Or
A little bit
both.
of
Yeah.
both.
Praise
Yeah.
God. That's man. Mm.
All right. Wow. Okay. So you went through all of this, you got better. At some point, you started becoming interested in exercise nutrition and you started figuring some stuff out. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, my whole life was like it was power sports with wakeboarding, so like just explosiveness, and then also I played basketball, so it was like cardio, cardio, cardio. And I gained because I didn't really change my eating habits. I got badly into drink. I gained over 80 pounds, but I was scared to go on the scale because I was disappointed in
Hmm.
myself and the reality that had set in. And I wasn't really walking, so I wasn't jumping on that scale. And I went. My process was okay. I'm gonna work out times a day because every day that I'm able to get out of bed is a blessed day, and that's how I looked at life because I was getting out. I was walking more than I was. Literally was 50,000 times better than it was before. So no matter if I was having headaches or anything, it was a better day. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 2 workouts a day, and they might not seem like much to you, but it was like, hey, first I started off as like trying to push more than 10 seconds of a walk, like in the house, and then I get
Hmm.
3 hours of paralysis, and then do it again, 3 hours of paralysis. I just did that every single day, getting longer and longer and longer. And then April 26th, like I said, I pushed it far enough that I could walk a block. I did that twice a day, and every time I did that, it was paralysis for 3 to 6 hours. So
Wow.
every single day, I was like, okay, this is my routine. I'm just gonna try to push the boundaries, try to get that brain able to store more energy, get used to doing it again, and just kept pushing that. And then I was like, okay, I want to lose some weight. I was listening to David Goggins and read his book, and I was like, okay, I'm going hard. And then heard Andy Frisella when I was trying to run a 10-kilometer or like a walk. I was trying to walk 10 kilometers, and I was listening to Andy Frisella's, and he was talking about this 75 hard. And I was like, okay, I got this. It's like drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a book a day, no cheat meals, no sugar. Um, one workout outside at 45 minutes, one inside, or both outside, doesn't matter. Kind of pretty much that's legit. And you have to do this every day, take a photo. And I was like, okay, I'm going to jump into this and do this. And I was really excited. I even got my brother to join with me because he's a fitness addict. Like he was squatting 600 and stuff, like
Wow.
like 6-8 reps before he threw out his back, and now he's dropped 80 pounds of muscle to he's a captain of fire department.
He could
And
squat
he's just
600 for 6 reps.
yeah, it was like his third set,
That's a
and he
strong
fucking
dude
threw
right
out his
there.
back. He was yeah he
I
went to
remember my first
250
600
something.
calories.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so I'm like, oh, I'll do this. He's like the strictest person I know. And he ended up bailing on like day 17 or something. And I was like, well, I'm pushing through. And it's like October I started in Canada. So it's like minus like 10. So every single day Celsius. And
Yeah.
eventually got to where I was like, hey, I'm going to run a marathon. There isn't any snow. I was all happy. I'm like, oh, it's only supposed to be minus 20. And which is still pretty damn cold. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be a bitch, and I'm gonna go do this. So I wake up in the morning, and there's a 1.5 foot of snow. I'm like, well, can't let my bitch voice talk me out of this. So I like packed up my stuff and started going. I was doing amazing. I was like, for not really training and just throwing my body in from not walking to going. I was at a 6:20 pace or something, and I'd finished the marathon in 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
And I was like,
That's
oh, I really want to get 50 because I'm thinking David Goggins right here. I'm like, I want to get 100 kilometers because it was on my bucket list. So I was like, I'm going to push to 50. And I go, everything's good. Kilometer 43, I go to drop off my backpack and I'm walking. And I slip in the snow on the road because it's compact. It fell through and I pulled something in my leg. I went from a 6:20 pace to a 18:50 pace, agonizing pain. I made it to 48.34 kilometers, and I was like, I had to
man.
tap out. And then like
Jeez.
I think my hardest run though was, I think my second last day. It was right before Christmas, and it was minus 62 with the wind chill. So that's like
That's
that's even
crazy.
colder because it's like minus 40
Oh,
Celsius is minus 40 Fahrenheit. And I had my beard froze, my eyelashes froze together. I'm wearing like a snowsuit over top of my normal warm suit. I was like, oh, it was painful, but I was like, I'm not quitting here.
That's truly
and,
an Iron Man right
yeah, that
there.
really is. Yeah, so I
and
just did a conversion there. So minus 62 Celsius is minus 79.6 Fahrenheit. That's like you spit and it's frozen before it hits the
yeah,
ground.
you pour the water and it instantly freezes. It's pretty
Oh
cool.
my goodness.
Yeah, and all while I was doing this, from like learning to walk to running the marathon, and probably a month after, I was only eating like 1,500 calories. I'm pushing the limits. Like I was probably like 12 to 1,100. I'm guessing because this is what my meals. I was like, hey, calories in, calories out. That's all I need to do. And I was eating a cup of rolled oats, not cooked, just scooped them in, eating them. I was eating like
Just dry oats?
dry oats,
Oh my goodness.
like
Okay.
200 grams of chicken breast, and like maybe some rice or more rolled oats, and like Not very, like, it wasn't very good. I was like, I'm just gonna just purely go calories off protein and oats. That was pretty much and tuna. Like just canned
Your
tuna, just crack
tuna.
it open.
Harsh.
So, and I was like, I got to a point where I was like, man, I'm not losing any weight. I'm getting injured. All my body parts are starting to get injured. I'm running 30 kilometers a day. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how can I run 30 kilometers and eat like nothing? I'm starving all night. I'm literally just feeling happy that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm mentally strong because I'm starving all night, and I was gaining weight. I was just losing muscle. Like literally, I looked at some photos and was like, I just got skinny fat.
Mm.
It was nuts.
So what did you learn about nutrition that brought you out of that, and gave you all of your energy and athleticism back and helped you regain muscle and get you to that 3,400 calories?
Yeah, so I was listening to Mind Pump, and I was like going into that and listening to all their stuff, and they talked about reverse dieting and all this stuff. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, you know what? I did it for a little bit. I was like, man, I can just go and just jump the calories. I'm like, I'll take the extra weight. I'll just lose it. So I went up like 700, or I can't, it was way more than that. It was probably 1,000 or something. I just started packing on the weight. I was
Mm.
like, okay, this ain't working. I just dropped it down a little bit, but I was able to eat some more. And then I found like NCI and started taking that course and stuff. And actually, the biggest thing that I noticed, because I was completely depleted, was when they were talking about creatine. And I was like, oh, I'll take creatine. And sure as shit, I took it, and within, I think, 2 to 3 days of eating exactly the same. This is me eating like 1,500 calories.
Mm-hmm.
I gained 10 pounds.
Wow.
So that's how depleted my ATP storages and everything were. They were just
Cell
Wow.
recovery.
based.
Cell recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 pounds I gained. All my lifts went up by 40 to 60 pounds.
Wow.
And I was like, man, I never felt so good. I'm sleeping better. I'm like, man, this stuff's amazing. I'm never going to miss this ever again. And then I started doing the reverse dieting and stuff and pushing it up. And I got there, and it was just, I felt so much healthier. I actually reverse dieted from, I was 193, and then I reverse dieted to 220. And then I dropped down to 9% body fat after to 207. And then just been trying to test the everything with trying to get the perfect. And I didn't really like it at 9%. 12% was definitely the most.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was eating a ton, feeling good, 3,400 calories, and then everything was going pretty good. I was like, man, I know how to do this, everything. And then I was like, I was supposed to go to Florida, and they didn't let me on the plane because I have a doctor's note for not allowed to, you know, and so they didn't let me there, and I got depressed while my whole family went down, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play basketball. So I played 15 basketball games in 17 days, and I got completely destroyed my body, and where like I just couldn't feel good. I started gaining weight just on the fact that I overdid myself, and
Mm-hmm.
then I actually had to like try to reverse diet. And I got to where I started feeling good again. I was eating 4,500 calories a day
Wow.
to try to feel healthy and like gain some more weight. And then just been just playing the games of like trying to build more muscle, and you know, like uh couple months, like I started squatting for the first time in April last year or this year. And like I was told not to squat from wakeboarding because I'd overdeveloped my thighs and overdeveloped my back from wakeboarding. So they're
Yeah.
like, no, no, you need to stay away from those. Just build the chest and hamstrings. And because I actually had a forward lean if I straightened my legs, so it's so
Uh-huh.
tight. And I
Wow.
was like 150 pounds I was lifting for squats because I had all these sticking points throughout, and I was trying to do ass to grass, and it was kind of cool. The other day, I actually lifted 495 for the squat. So
Nice.
Wow.
I was
Sweet.
once you got rid of all the sticking points, plus my back, my legs are pretty overdeveloped from wakeboarding still after 10 years, but
Yeah.
it came back and with a vengeance. So The
It
bulk's
kind
been
of,
doing good.
yeah, it kind of sounds like that Hercules genes runs in your family there, though.
Yeah, we got big legs.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
Wow.
then yeah. And I can do like three
very cool.
something for the bench, but
Wow.
Just regular reps, working out reps.
yeah.
Oh wow, that's a strong bench there. So for you talked about the reverse diet a lot. For some of our listeners who don't know what a reverse diet is, would you mind explaining what
Yeah,
that
it's
is and how that process goes?
yeah, it's kind of cool. This is actually what I mainly do with like my clients and everything now after like experiencing, because I was like, man, I gotta show what worked for me, because I'm like, there's so much information on the internet. Like, how are we supposed to navigate anything? Like, I'm not
Hmm.
going to drink water or eat fruit or meat or anything if I listen to the internet.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Do you know
nothing.
who Dr. Allo is? Muhammad
I've
Allo?
heard. I've heard his
Yeah, so
name.
he talks he has a thing. I'll let you talk here in a minute, but he's like you can go into any bookstore and pick out any five random weight loss or diet, books on the shelf, read them from cover to cover, and then on a piece of paper write down what you can eat. He said after you get through with those five books, you're going to end up with a piece of white paper. Can't eat
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. And so pretty much like what I do, because I work with people with chronic illnesses, is majority of the time is they pretty much stopped eating almost completely. Like they like one of my clients was eating 200 to 300 calories a day.
Mm.
And then like the fifth day we go to McDonald's, eat like 2,000. So he's averaging like 600 calories a day. And like their health has gone out the window. Everything's like their hormones are bad, their gut health is bad, their chronic illness isn't getting any better, and it's pretty much that they're not feeling their body. And like I like to say is, if you have a house and you got a mortgage to pay, if you only have $1,500 that you've brought in of earnings, you can pay for that mortgage, right? But how are you supposed to pay for the power bill, the electric, the gas, property tax, all that stuff if you don't bring any more money? And that's how our bodies are. If we don't bring in enough food, then we just like, oh, we'll just turn off this switch. Oh, no more gut health. Oh, we'll turn off the um all your hormones. Yep. Next thing, oh, now your thyroid's not working. Oh yeah, let's just turn off some more things, and your body just keeps like turning things off, trying to figure out how it's going to survive. It's really good at surviving, we're just not really good at thriving. And so what I normally do is we start to increase our calories, usually around like I'd say like 300, especially because it's so low, and that's like tripling their calories normally.
Mm.
And so it's a huge deal of like I can't even like push protein in too much on them, because that's too filling and things like that. So you got to slowly just bring that up. And there's a whole bunch of that goes into it because every person's different. Not, but pretty much I increase their calories to a certain point, usually around 50 to 100, depending on age, sickness, things like that, over like 7 to 10 days. Continue to do that depending on weight gain, biofeedback markers, things like that. And they start feeling amazing. And it's crazy. Like the one guy that was eating 600 calories a day, we got him up to eating 3,400 calories over 6 months. And like,
Hmm.
so he's like, just skyrocket how much. And he didn't lose any weight. I told him that we're not going to go. He didn't gain any weight, and he lost like 12 inches
Mm.
throughout the process. So he was just gaining muscle and getting. And he's like, man, I sleeping better. He's like, it's so much easier at work. I can eat gluten now, and like all of his allergies started to go away, and like and then his health problems, things like that, all started getting better and better, which is amazing. And like, so a lot of times, like you have this chronic illness and it's not getting better. The doctors are struggling to get that over. But the big thing is you don't have the fuel to fix it. And once you actually have the fuel plus the doctor's advice, mix those two together and you actually start to get progress and you start getting healthier and healthier, which is cool.
Hmm.
Like one girl had 24% heart function that I was working with,
Jeez.
and she went up
Wow.
4% heart function,
Holy cow.
and she's down like 25 pounds now. And she was only able to eat Greek yogurt. That was the
Hmm.
only, like, she can eat eggs, can eat anything. She's allergic to seeds,
Oh,
anything
geez.
with seeds and gluten and milk and pretty much everything on the planet. So she was actually started to be able to eat more stuff once we got it up, and she was at around 600 calories average as well. But we got her up to like 15 to 1800, but she's like stuffing herself to try to do it.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it takes time for your body to adjust and stuff. And it's cool how just changing the diet can exponentially increase how much faster you heal from these chronic illnesses and actually lose weight after, just on side
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah. So what
Wow.
kind of um we say chronic illnesses, but what kind of things do you deal with?
I've been like I worked with a few people with like brain infections.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, I get more just because of that. And then
Yeah.
a lot of people, especially with that missing intestines, heart
Hmm.
issues. A lot of actually my page used to be called Gut Health and Weight Loss Simplified, and I changed it to chronic illness. But it was because everyone has gut issues when they have chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
So it's majority of like someone has Crohn's, other people like the heart issues, where they get the stomach reduction surgery. That's like the
Hmm.
worst thing. Everyone just struggles with that. A lot of that kind
Hmm.
of stuff, or like menopause and all over. But it's everyone's kind of dealing with something. And the worst part is like people with chronic illnesses like me. I was like, I didn't want to reach out. Just kind of locked myself in a box in my head and didn't want to talk to anyone. Didn't really trust the doctors anymore because things weren't getting better, and just you don't really have too much hope. So like it's hard for people to actually reach out to actually try to get better because you're tired of failing. You're tired of not having results, and it's just like why bother. So there's a lot of people and they stay really quiet, but once they start getting help, it's crazy. Like my group was pretty silent. I had like 70, 90 people watching videos,
Hmm.
and then no comments because people, but then once I started to get some of them as clients, he, they started commenting and stuff. So it's cool to see like how people like, and they started posting more on Facebook versus not at all, because like I didn't tell my family I was sick because it was during COVID and everything. So I
Hmm.
just pretty much like, I was like, I don't want anyone to know I'm sick. I don't want anyone to hear. I told one friend that helped me out like substantially. Um, so I had one person to like rely on. So that's how a lot of people with chronic illnesses are. They might not even have anyone to talk to,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest problem. So just trying to reach out. And sometimes it's easier to reach out to a stranger that you don't know because you don't have any skin in the game. So it's easier
That's
to
true.
vent to them versus your family and stuff. So.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow, that's
hey,
fantastic that you're creating a community that can be a support system for those people, you know. They're kind of acting as their own support system for themselves and for each other.
Hmm.
hey, I just wanted to ask real quick, Justin, can you talk a little bit about that process about, you talked about being in depression, and you also talked about how a lot of your clients, they don't want to reach out, they don't want to admit anything, they don't want to talk, even in your group of people watching the videos. What did that process look like for you to start coming out of that depression? I mean, did somebody reach out to you first, or did you at some point go, I need some help, and then reach out to somebody? We just talked about a stranger or somebody you're not really close to, and they don't have any skin in the game. Is that, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I see that also in people who are just like struggling in their own fitness journey. Uh, and by the way, I can relate to the whole thing about, you know, your body's not feeling good, you didn't sleep well, you're not eating enough calories, you're below maintenance basically. And Coach Lamby, when we first started working out, worked me through that. But and I felt like I could talk to him. I wasn't in depression, but certainly wasn't eating right. But I see a lot of folks that I do know that they don't say anything, but I can tell they're depressed and I tell they're not happy and they tell they don't feel good about their bodies. But how did that process work for you, especially coming out of or while you were in the throes of your illness?
Yeah, I think it started out at 16 years old with sports and everything. And um, I was very I didn't party. If I did go to a party, I wouldn't drink. I was very strict, like, hey, this is how it's going to be, training, training, training. Um, and I had to figure out a purpose of why I wanted to actually do things and have a mission. And so that I was helping people. So I coached
Mm.
wakeboarding, I had my whole team I organized, things like that. And then so I used like coaching as the outlet. But once that kind of, because it's only like there's only so much summer in Canada. We got like 3 good months.
Right.
And then it came to I quit wakeboarding, and that was the hardest thing in my entire life, was feeling like I didn't compare. My dad's in the Hall of Fame and
Mm.
everything, and like feeling like I didn't achieve anything and things like that, and that what was a purpose, and I that was the hardest, most difficult. And I've talked to so many athletes that have dealt with the same. They didn't reach out to anyone. We just kind of dealt with it, and like now we laugh about it. 10 years later, I'm like, I'm like, dude, my friends that I should have reached out because they were dealing with the same thing, and I didn't
Wow.
realize.
Wow.
And there's so many of us. Like I made a little support group for us for a bit because a lot of us were not doing too well, because you know how things go. But
Mhm.
I really, first off, my headaches were permanent, so the constantly. So I was addicted to adrenaline, so I got addicted to video games, and I just constantly got in that. And then that was kind of my outlet, was doing video games and talking to people on there and like on my phone. And then I actually just vented to like random strangers, and we both just like would vent back and forth about
Mm.
things, and just kind of like, and that's how I kind of got through for the first bit. And but once I had the actual brain infection, that one, I had already built built up some ways to deal with it, with like talking to some friends, reaching out. Like I said, my one friend was very vital in my whole day-to-day operation.
Hmm.
And then talking to friends online, because I don't, it was really easy to talk to someone that I don't have a face to them, and that you just kind of generic. So that was really nice. And then just trying to figure out some, like a support group. I went to like a, a concussion page and talked to people in there and like dealt with that. And then 75 Hard had a support page that I talked to, and like all the wins and stuff. I started like competing back and forth, and like it's kind of like I had a goal in mind. Was the major thing was I had a goal of something to keep pushing for. But as soon as you lose that goal, it gets really dark and grim and
Hmm.
stuff, and you need to figure out to either find one, or you're gonna have to reach out to someone. I find it's easier to find that you don't really know, but
Mm.
um, finding something, some community somewhere to help you, because it just keeps getting darker and darker. And you got like what, 54,000 thoughts a day or something. And about 80-90% of them are the same thoughts all day. So if you can just change 3 thoughts to a positive thought, like one of my first thing every single day, I make my clients write 3 things they're grateful for.
Awesome.
And it might not seem like a lot, but when they can't write the same 3 things every single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's like, oh, that's 3 new things, which turns into probably 3,000 things over the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then it just
I,
keeps compounding. Eventually, like, you look at yourself differently. Like one of my clients, she was running marathons and thought she was extremely overweight and ugly and hated herself and was depressed and everything. And I was like, okay, we're not going to even look at the scale. We're just only going to work on, like, I have this program, it's called Focus 90. And we only focus on things that are going to change the way you think,
that's awesome.
and everything.
That's
So,
awesome.
like,
That was going to be. I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. That was my next question is how does that translate to your clients? Do you pick that up on as you talk to them, or do they open up and let you know that they're dealing with some depression?
I would say almost every single person, I'd say 90% of people, when I just get in a call before I'm even working on with them, when we just get in, like, just going over things, like, they open up, like, they're usually crying, because there's so much stress put on you. There's so much feeling like there's no hope and everything. And once you actually like you have like emotional release. So like majority on the time on the call, just to even possibly work with me, there's like people crying, and like then it's like a release of like endorphins, and like they get a lot of stress off that, and then it just continues every single, I'd say, you're pretty much therapist almost support
Wow.
Mm.
majority of the time, and then you just give them the tools
Wow.
to get healthy. It's a lot more personal. They think more of a, as a friend
Yeah.
versus a coach, I find,
Yeah.
versus like when you're working with like an athlete, it's like, hey, you're a coach, this is the plan, this is what you follow. And people with chronic illnesses are really, we're all really fragile and scared, and so it takes a lot to open up in your, so
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand the personal relationship that coaches build with their clients, and then, vice versa. And I remember the first time that um well, I don't want to say fire, but I kind of had to like stop paying for a coach. And I remember like sitting down, and it took me like 4 hours to write the email. And I told my wife, I was like, I feel like I'm breaking up with someone.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. So when Coach Lamby and Christy and Cynthia moved to Arizona, I was in culture shock. I mean, first of all, we're best friends, but second of all, it's like just a huge. I mean, I saw him three times a week. I mean,
Yeah,
we
at
hung out
least.
all the time. Yeah, at least, and that's not even in our social interactions with our families. But when they moved, I was like, yeah, now what? What do I do? What do I do? It was hard. It was hard. So you do actually build a relationship there, and man, people don't get it. People just don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sometimes the only person they talk to.
I
Mm.
can't.
Of
I
like
completely believe that.
literally like no family members, nothing. I'm not like the sole person, and they look forward to the call, and you get the text messages every single day sometimes, and oh,
Wow.
can't wait.
Yeah. So Justin, so somebody's out there and they're struggling with weight loss, and they're following, kind of the advice that they're getting online about uh restricting calories and doing the exercise and all this stuff, but they're really struggling. So what advice would you have for them if let's say somebody was to call in right now and you had 30 seconds to tell them something?
I would tell them that you want something that's going to last a decade, that you're going to win every single day, and that's not going to be hard. A lot of these diets are you lose 20 pounds, you gain 20 pounds back. So you want to do something that's slow, but you can sustain it for 10 years plus. That's the thing that I think is most important, is not trying to rush the process, because weight loss, you probably have a goal of like, hey, I want to feel better. I want my knees to be better. I want to be able to get my leg up on the bed to put my sock on. Maybe you get your shoes on. And you have all these checklist items that you put to weight loss,
Yeah.
but you don't put it to the actual feeling better part. And a lot of times is you can get your health better and feeling better and hormones better and all this, fixing all these other issues. You might not have night sweats, you're sleeping better, all this stuff. So all those check marks are feeling better. The only thing that's missing is the weight loss. And a lot of us only put everything on the weight loss, and we don't look at all the other things that we really want. So as long as you're seeing improvements that's not weight loss and only focus on the other stuff, over time you're going to get to your weight loss goal. And you rather be able to like, my whole thing is you want to be able to do it for a decade. You want to be able to eat every food that you want in moderation, and it should be easy to do. So like have your favorite food as long as it's within your calories, and make sure to have it all the time, because most of us, I deal with a lot of people with binge eating and self-sabotage.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I want them to have that donut every single day if they really want. And as long as they're not having two, three, four, five, because when they're gaining weight, it's when they cut this off, and then they're just gonna like, I need this, and they're gonna go and binge out a whole bunch. But if they have it every day, they're not gonna crave it. They're not gonna. So I think the biggest thing is a perspective change is what they need, and to write down what is it that you actually want out of the weight loss, and write those things down. You get a list. You're like, oh man, these are all the things. And then when you start trying to do your goal, I always suggest like you got to earn the weight loss. So you got to reverse diet before you get to the chance to even go for weight loss. So you reverse diet and see how many of those list items get better in the reverse when you have more energy and you're feeling good and your hormones are good. And then when things get tough and you feel like quitting because your weight loss hasn't changed because you've been reverse dieting and all this stuff, go and be like, hey, do I really want to give up this list of stuff that I just got feeling better with? Do I not want to sleep good anymore? Do I want to have joint issues? Like, what do you want to give up for it? And as long as you're seeing that and put that voice to like, hey, these are the items that I'm going to be losing if I give up, because it's easy to give up if it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna gain a few pounds. But if you like, hey, I'm gonna be feeling like crap, and like life is gonna get to shit, you're not gonna quit as easy. So that list, starting off writing down what you want out of weight loss is really good. It's gonna help you keep things going forward because inches go off, weight goes up sometimes, you build muscle, all these different factors. It's not reliable. You want to be feeling the best that you ever felt. That should be the main goal.
It is.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so Justin, you are working on a podcast, and you kind of mentioned to me that you haven't really got it going. So tell us what the podcast is going to be about. What do you think what do you see for the future of the podcast? Kind of the direction you want to go with it.
I've been kind of like testing out. So I did like I think about 9 interviews, something like that, and pretty much with people with different chronic illnesses and how their journey went and everything, and just had some life situations and stuff. And I was like, okay, had a lot of clients and stuff. And I didn't have too much time for the podcast. So I put it on hold for a little bit, and I got some more time now. So I'm thinking about getting more into it. But pretty much is I like to tell the story of your journey, like my journey through brain infection. Another person had cancer on there and lost 100 pounds. And some people, I got a couple people that didn't have any of those problems, but they've dealt with people that they've worked with and brought on, and just having a general story of like what kept them motivated through the tough times. And because it's nice to see that other people have done it, because that was something I drastically missed when I was in bed. I was like, I don't know anyone that's went through this specific thing. And if I can help share some other stories of different illnesses that other people might relate to and be able to find inspiration. So that's kind of just the main purpose of it, is that. And then I have some just health videos in there too. But yeah, the main thing is just sharing it to other people who don't feel so alone.
Oh, that's great. Um,
Yeah.
what's preventing you from getting that thing going?
Um, well, it sounds like it's an excuse, but I ended up getting a lot of clients with nutrition coaching, and then I was also working a full-time job doing construction because my grandpa was his last year before he turned his company selling it. So I've been doing that, and then playing basketball, and then my daughter trying to play with her, and then my wife's pregnant too. So
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
got a lot of things, and I was just like, well, that's a something. And then all the
Like,
video editing and
yeah.
stuff, and we moving, and like we just moved into this house this month.
Mhm.
So we were searching for a house for a bit and stuff, and I don't know, just kind of I put it off for a little bit, and then it's just next thing you know, it was a long bit.
Yeah, it happens. So when do you think we can expect to see some of those coming out?
um Probably in January. I'm gonna jump back on and get some interviews planned and everything. I got a lot more time. I'm just doing full-time nutrition coaching now, so I got plenty more hours of the day to actually get things organized. So I'm excited about that, as well as helping all the new people that are joining in January and stuff.
Well, so
Very
we're
cool.
forming an accountability group now. Geez, no, I'm teasing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, very cool. Well, Justin, this has been an incredible story to hear. It's been, very eye-opening. And I love to hear, how much you're looking to inspire people and creating uh, just tremendous support for all these people out there that are struggling. So, is there anything that we didn't cover that you might want to cover?
No, not overly. Yeah, I just think there's so many different people and that have different issues that are going on. And the biggest thing is when someone feels depressed, they feel like it's the worst thing for them. And if you
Hmm.
compare your story to someone else's, that's not fair to yourself because um, it could be the biggest pain you've ever felt in your life. And that's a big deal to you. So if you compare someone else's pain to yours, that's not what you've experienced your life situation. So never compare yourself to others. I always feel like you're worth it. You're an amazing person and that your struggle is real because it is real to you. It might not be as real to, like, say, a family member of yours because they don't understand, but it is real. And it is just as bad as someone else's that has a different situation. And that's just the most that you've experienced. So never give up on yourself. Always feel and look for help and try to get better every single day because any day that you get out of bed is a blessing and we have the opportunity to live and change other people's lives. So just you changing your situation can help 5, 10, 15 other people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Justin, where can people find you?
I'm mostly just on Facebook at just Justin Gratzfeld.
Mhm.
Instagram is Fit Gratz, and then I have a Facebook group. It's called Chronic Illness and Weight Loss Simplified, and then it's like two little dots, and it says Unlocking Nutritional Longevity. So that's where I do most of my nutrition content is on that Facebook group. So you can always just
Very
add
cool.
me.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely put the links in the show notes to all of those things for everybody. So, Justin, we have a question that I like to ask all of the guests, and that is, what one piece of advice would you give someone that's not related to nutrition or exercise that will help improve their lives?
Well, my favorite thing is just writing the three things you're grateful for. I literally everything changes, your whole perspective changes by figuring out what you're grateful for. And it is insane how so many people can change their entire life situation. They can go to run marathons, they go out and do fitness, all this stuff just by changing what they enjoy because if you're constantly looking the negative, you're going to be depressed, you're going to feel upset, and if you can just change this, see three good things, then your life's going to change drastically. So I would just say write three things on a piece of paper that you're grateful for. Even a whiteboard, even better if you put
Oh,
it in
yeah.
there and write the three.
Mhm.
So it's in your bedroom. So when you wake up, you look and that's what you're grateful for. And it really just keeps it in mind all day. And if you have it all over the place, it's even better.
That's awesome.
That's good. That's good advice.
Good
All
stuff.
right. Well, Justin, it has been a pleasure, and we've had a really good time talking to you, and wish you the best. I'm definitely going to talk to Philip Pape and see if we can get you on his podcast and get you out there reaching more people.
For sure. Yeah, it's super exciting. This was a pleasure. It's fun getting to talk to other people and get on here. And yeah, I appreciate it so much. And look forward to talking to you more.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time. I definitely know somebody took something away from this. My mind was blown. Dwayne, how about yours? Yeah.
Blown. Absolutely.
All right. All right, buddy. We'll see you next time. Lamby and Dwayne out.